Cringy scenarios for parents? What are you gonna do when put in this situation? Fathers, dads, buds, and lads, it's your man Trent, and this is FC, and we're back at it with a brand new video series. If this is your very first time here on my channel, why don't you go ahead and like, subscribe, and ring that bell, and be the next person to join the FC crew, where all we do is help parents through honest and candid conversation, and add a little fun in the mix. Without further ado, let's get at it.
This is not a dream.
So this is part one of cringy situations that parents find themselves in and what they would do in those situations. So let's start with number one. Let's bring up the first slide, shall we? Your baby has a very poopy diaper at a store in the mall that's at the furthest point possible from the mall's entrance. After changing the diaper, do you dump the dirty diaper in the poorly ventilated bathroom and hurry out and continue your shopping? Are you going to walk the dirty diaper all the way outside the mall, throw it in a garbage bin, and continue your shopping? Or are you going to carry that poopy diaper around with you shopping and dispose of it somewhere appropriate later on? All right, convenience is the name of the game here. What I would do as a parent, number one, I've got a kid who's in diapers, probably screaming and crying, frantic. It's already uncomfortable to shop with a young kid like that. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna dump the diaper in the poorly ventilated bathroom and continue shopping. Hey, out of sight, out of mind. They don't know who you are, they can't blame it on you. So I'm going with number one. All right, guys, let's scoot on over to number two. Let's bring up the slide right now. Your kid becomes friends with someone whose parents are absolutely insufferable. Do you? So, what are you going to do? Number one, suffer through your interactions with those parents for your kid's sake? Are you going to do the obvious and steer your kid away from those kids to be friends with other kids? Or are you going to forbid your kid being friends with that kid? Now, there is a tricky situation here. Very tricky. In all honesty, fatherhood confession style, I would probably just suffer through it for my kids' relationship enjoyment. Fact of the matter is, it never says how often we're going to be interacting with these parents. So you know what? I'll take one for the team. I'll suffer through it, hoping that it's just short increments of time, and just deal with it for my kids' sake. I can hear the naysayers out there now. How could you? What kind of a person are you? Well, that's not good parenting. What are you teaching your kids? Really? Let's be honest. What would you really do? All right, let's move on to number three. This is the final one in part one. And here it is. You get rid of one of your kids' long ignored toys, and then the next day, your kid suddenly needs it desperately. Do you? So, what would you do? How are you handling this situation? Do you kindly help them look for it in hopes that they will lose interest? Or would you just shrug it off and say to your kid, well, if you kept your room clean, maybe you'd know where this toy is? Or number three, do you just cut to the chase and admit that you tossed it out? If you're wondering what I would do number three. I would admit right up front, no shame, no guilt. I would just toss it out and I would let them know that. You don't need to over-explain. You don't need to exaggerate. You just need to be truthful. And straight up, just tell them, hey, it's a toy you haven't played with in a long time. It's no good. You don't care about it anymore. I tossed it out. And I could hear some parents saying, oh, wow, you're just mean. No, I'm just a realist. Wouldn't you do that? What would you do? We as parents find ourselves in very awkward, tough, and challenging situations. Sometimes we make the right judgment, sometimes we make the wrong judgment. Sometimes we make the selfish judgment. At the end of the day, we make a decision. Probably not the best one, but we make a decision regardless. And sometimes it's just all about saving face. Well, that puts a wrap on part 1 of cringy situations for parents. What would you do? Join me next week for part 2 as we dive into a whole nother slate of scenarios. In the meantime, go ahead and interact with me in these scenarios. I want to know which ones you would choose and why. Again, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell, and become the next member of the FHC family, where we help parents navigate parenting through honest conversation and have some fun along the way. What's wrong with that, right? Well, like I always say, stay focused, stay safe, and I'll catch you on the flippity. See ya.